Yeah.
It's not just students. Who else is it going to freak out?
The parents.
Absolutely.
I think it could be something that you do inform the parents of. Maybe wait until right at 8:20 when all the kids are in class. You send in an email or one of the text message alerts that I know parents get. I think you inform the parents, you inform the teachers and the faculty,
Okay.
but the
Okay,
students.
So I think it probably hasn't been done by this point because there's too many obstacles to overcome with that. So let's say that there's too many obstacles to overcome, okay? Then how can you step it down and still do what you're saying to do? How can you do that?
Just having real talks.
No. I'm still talking about, I mean,
The active shooter drill.
yep, I'm still, what would be your next suggestion? So you said for your proposal is you do it during the school day, everybody involved. And then like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. What's the next step down?
I would say maybe when the students are gone, doing it with the staff, because if your teachers are confident when something like that is going on, you're obviously going to reflect the confidence onto the students. And I think that if there were more drills with the staff, then the students would, in a real situation, if the staff was super confident in what they were doing and they knew exactly what was going on, then the students would definitely feel more confident, feel more safe in the situation.
I think that's a great suggestion. So I feel like you maybe skipped over one or two steps, but I think that would be part of the plan. And so what you're saying is you do the same kind of active shooter training, but you would just use adults in the building.
Yes.
Okay? Is there anything in between?
I think we also need to start talking about before and after school as well.
Now, hang on, you're jumping away. I'm still talking about the active shooter training. I'm just trying to get you guys to drill down on that part of it. The active shooter training. Is there anything in between no kids, or all kids and no kids?
Yeah, so I feel like that could help because even though you could have it, because we don't really have a plan for before or after school, so training on that as well. And then just really, I think establishing the safety so that we know if we were to instill devices, like what were we supposed to do when this occurs? How do we use these devices? How do we practice defending ourselves, even if a teacher isn't in the room? Because you can train the teachers as much as you want, but then you have these students who don't know what they're supposed to do. So maybe informing us the process of exactly how to get to Wellington or the safest route or the safest exit strategies out of the school as well can help.
Yeah, I would say that after you take the teachers and you inform them, you do an assembly or a chapel where you really drill this into the students. Obviously, they're not going through the active shooter drill to prevent the liability of them.
So do you see no scenario where students are involved?
I think that you could do an active shooter drill with students. You would have to be very adamant about informing the parents and making sure. I think even if you did it, but they knew it was a drill, I think it could still have some benefit if you were really concerned about the liability of it or the miscommunication between student and family. But I think if you were trying to avoid that conflict, or I think you could just do it as an informational session or do it as a, yes, this is a drill, but we are going to make it as real as possible. You could even instill consequences if a student is not taking it seriously or something like that, because I think that students are going to not take a drill seriously unless there is A, a consequence, or B, they don't know it's a drill.
So, anyone, let you go, I know we're taking the last few minutes. I guess what I'm trying to get you to see is that, we're trying to get something to do with all students. Why don't you take volunteers?
Yeah.
Why don't you, well, no, just put it out there. I mean, and you could get 80% of the student population say, hey, yeah, I want to do that. But you could take volunteers and then try it that way. And then that would also include the adults. So I guess that's what I'm throwing that back to you guys. If that were to come to you as a suggestion, would you say, yeah, I would want to be a part of that? I think that's a good
I
idea.
think it's a good option, but you also have to think of it, what happens to, say 80% do volunteer, what happens to the other 20% who aren't trained? So when this actual event does occur, they're sitting there defenseless. They don't know.
Well, they're going to follow the crowd, but right now it's zero.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a good step,
And
but
you could still have an assembly after for those that missed
I think,
Yeah, but remember, I was just trying to get you to
Yeah.
zero in on this one
Yeah.
part, and so would you want to, and trying to get a way to involve students in that process?
I think all of the students should be involved. And I feel like nowadays, the majority of them would want to. Like I said, it's a reality that we are facing. And if they really did the research, if they really did, like, they see it in the news. I was in 7th grade and I saw Sandy Hook, and it kind of snapped into reality. And you see Parkland, and you see things like that. So I feel like now people would want to be involved. So even if we did take volunteers, the majority of the school probably would be here.
I was just going to piggyback on Mr. Matthews' question. I mean, like, could it be a Saturday with volunteers that came in, both teachers and students, to kind of start it? Because to Mr. Matthews' point, it's zero right now. So if you got 60, 70, 80%, and then take a step further, do you all see value in forming a student committee? So the fourth you have really become well versed on school shooting. And to say, you know what, you mentioned you saw something in the news on Sandy Hook, and that's, you turn on the news nowadays, it's a lot of really negative, really, sad stories, right? So do you see value in a group of students from LCA saying, hey, listen, we're going to take ownership of this. We're going to collaborate and coordinate with our school officials, and then take it even a step further. And then you bring in other schools in the community and say, hey, you know what, we're going to have a united front. So then the story becomes, hey, listen, if you're a potential shooter, and maybe this is another layer of defense, it's like we're taking ownership of our schools from a safety standpoint. And you coming in and doing harm to our friends and our teachers, that's not okay. Do you see value in something like that, where LCA kind of takes the lead on it?
I definitely do. I think that's being, like we said earlier, definitely proactive in a situation. And I also think that it would be easier for like our peers to come to us and like have their ideas to us rather than going straight to the administration, because that's what student council definitely helps me with. Like for any issues that I have, like I feel more comfortable going to them first. And I feel like if us four like had a committee, people would come to us, like say their ideas, and then we all could like come together and make a good plan and then take it to the administration. And I definitely think if it showed value in our school, that other schools would come on board, because it would have a way of having the community and making Lexington and like surrounding areas safer in general.
And I think another thing to add to that, and you were talking about the media portrayal of that, I think right now the glorification of a crime or a school shooting is, we found it to be part of the reasoning, or one of the reasoning behind a school shooting is because people are seeking attention, and they know that if they go and commit this crime that they're going to receive that. And I think that by creating a united school panel or something like that of that nature and having that broadcasted, I think that shifts the portrayal onto the students and the families and the lives that you're impacting, and I think that could reduce the media portrayal and the glorification.
Maybe actually change it.
Exactly.
Should that, yeah, love the way you guys are thinking.
If I heard y'all correctly, y'all didn't like the idea of teachers being armed, but you did like the fact that administrators or CBO people, because they're out in the hallway. But what was your reason why you didn't like teachers being armed?
I'd say almost CBO people, like I feel like it would be if it did get to that level of drastic defense, but I feel like if we could find better ways to equip them, because I was listening to one of the panels from last year, and they said that Officer Hart's main reason is if the police officers were to come in and there's all these people standing there with guns, how do they know who the real shooter is? So I feel like that's kind of, and while they could help, what if they do get hurt and injured, and then there's another gun lying on the ground, so whenever the shooter runs out of ammunition, they can just pick another one up and go. So I feel like it's just, I also don't think the current plan of just having them stand there because their lives are valuable, and I feel like we should hopefully try and come up with another way to find a way to help these people so they aren't just standing there defenseless. So I think, but arming them right now at least is not the best way to go about this, in my opinion.
I think the issue with armed teachers is, like, you would want to keep it between the faculty and not let the students know, because that could go wrong. And also, like, where are they going to keep it? Say they keep it in their bag or something, like their firearm, and they misplace it, and then you just have that lying around school somewhere.
And also you can never, the line of trust to arm people inside of a school that aren't an actual officer or someone in a police authority position, you have to fully know that nothing is going to happen to this person to where they could potentially use that against you. And I think that gets too blurry. you're never going to have a perfect situation where you can 100% be confident in a teacher or an administrator to not potentially use that against you. You can know someone or have worked with a school for multiple years, but you never know what could happen. And I know Hayden researched, there was actually shooting, I think it was in Belgium or Germany, where an actual teacher was armed and ended up shooting his class or one of his students. And I think obviously that's a drastic, it's a drastic thing that you wouldn't probably be the majority of the cases, but it's something that could happen. And I think we talked to Mr. Overton about him, and he was armed at his previous position. And he talked about how that, although he didn't personally tell anyone he was armed and he was instructed not to, he said people talk and people know. And you don't really, there's no way to combat that. And so I think that the benefits or the potential benefits of arming a teacher don't really outweigh the negative side effects of that.
We can talk later about which teachers in the school you're worried about snapping and shooting. But we've talked a little bit about student responsibility and these kinds of things. I want to know, what about outside of here? So the social impact of these shootings and things of that nature. You know, you guys know plenty of students, mostly guys, who play a lot of video games all day and those kinds of things. What about social media, video games, even media coverage of these events?
We talked
How do we take this outside of the school?
We researched a lot about social media and the different roles that it can take in a school shooting situation. And I'm trying to find the exact statistics, but there was a large majority of school shootings that had preliminary threats posted online to either a Facebook or an Instagram or any sort of social media, and these get dismissed because I think there is a large majority that do circulate the internet, and I think people have become so accustomed to that, or accustomed to the joking manner of a threat that they don't even realize. I think this one was in 2018 in New Jersey. A mom found a Facebook from a boy in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, that he had a gun in his profile and he had messaged about racial slurs and children, and she ended up calling the police, and it turned out that he had multiple stolen weapons and stuff like that. And so I think there's not enough people that take it seriously anymore. And so from a social media aspect, I think that there needs to be more filters on that, and there needs to be more student awareness of not taking things lightly.
And
Yeah.
for video games, there's actually been research done. While they are graphic and violent, a lot of that has not been the cause for the violent tendencies. It's been coupled with the way they've grown up, the mental health issues that they have, and the bullying and things surrounding that as well. And I feel like while mental health is one of the main causes, about 56% of the school shootings, because they're going through a crisis, also bullying is a big impact of it. And one of the questions that we found when researching is, like, if the shooter was bullied, are those people that bullied the school shooter, are they responsible for the crime as well? And I feel like whenever we are taught when we're little not to bully people, not to do this, like, we need to find out that sometimes our actions do have a very, very serious effect on people, and that sometimes it makes them do violent things. And so really instilling, and if we see someone being picked on, and if we see someone being called names or being like harmed and things like that, then we really need to speak up against it, whether it's on social media, whether it's in school, or whether it's outside of school as well, because you can be potentially stopping the school shooter.
I really like that thoughtful thinking that you all have around bullying, because, you know, the world has changed, right? Like, so when we were growing up, you know, with the advent of social media that you all have, everything's out there instantly. So kids who are getting bullied now, like, usually, like, you know, when I was growing up, I mean, bullying, it kind of started and stopped, you know, at the school, you know, one way or another it got resolved. But now it's like it just gets perpetuated through social media. And you recognizing that you can be part of the solution early on by intervening and not allowing the bullying to happen. Because, you know, now it's like a kid who's getting bullied, they say, well, you know what, I saw that this other kid got revenge. They took a gun in the school and they stopped those bullies. But you all recognizing that you can prevent all of it from happening, maybe, I think that's great.
I think that goes along with what Caroline was talking about earlier about like a tip line. I think having something, even if you want to do it anonymously, I think being able to have the opportunity to confront something or let administration or let someone know that it's going on. Obviously that's something that's available now, but I think it's something we don't really want to make that step because it's uncomfortable and it normally a lot of talking and talking to administration follows it. And I think being able to send in tips or talk to people without having to follow through with it makes it a little bit easier on a student to say, hey, I noticed this, or I saw this on social media and it's concerning to me. And I think that would definitely help with the bullying, because they're all gonna lump together.
Sure. The tip line stuff and letting somebody know still is too late, really. You know what I'm saying? It's a great idea, but by the time somebody gets the courage up to say, I'm gonna send this in on a tip line, 2 days could have been passed, or 2 weeks could have been passed, right? And a lot's been happening. And the way, you know, I think the issues that come and fall in our lap, a lot of students are upset, and it's 300 people have seen this post. It's not 3 people. It's not just a timely thing of, hey, once I got off the bus, the bullying stopped. It was just while my bus ride was there for 40 minutes on the bus. The rest of my school day was okay. So it's got to be done at that moment.
Yeah,
You all have to seize the moment and have the courage to say, I'm stopping it when I see it, so that it gets taken immediately down, or that person gets challenged right then and there.
I think that's why we should instill like conversation, so we know that it's not just like one social media post, oh, you need to report it 3 days later. But I think another thing to that is that the first social media post that is, it's going to be coming with other signs. So if they finally post, oh, I'm going to shoot at the school, it's not going to be like, oh, I need to send this in. You're going to see the signs of the bullying that comes with it, maybe the home life or the isolation within the school. So I feel like if we're more aware of the signs and more aware of the situation that's coming with it, it could be, rather than that just one post and we finally send it in, it could be teaching all of us what we really need to be looking out for so we can prevent it before it's too late.
I think it'd be beneficial if we can catch it early on, because some of the things they post are really just like cries for help, like they just want to be noticed. So if we could
That's why we talked.
encourage to like have conversations about it early on.
We talked about we have to instill students not only for plans for action but also for prevention. And so by talking with other students, having real talks with teachers or administration or tip line or anything like that, if we instill in the students that this is something that could potentially save not only your own life but your classmates, then I think it might take a little bit of time before students become comfortable or used to this concept, because it's just not something we're used to right now. But I think that it could be instilled or taught to students.
What does the Bible have to say about this whole topic?
It's obviously not biblical. It shows the like brokenness in the world and like how sin is in.
We're commanded not to murder, so it's pretty point blank when you take it from a biblical standpoint. But there's a lot of corruption in our world, and so a lot of times people overlook a biblical standpoint on something just for self and satisfaction.
And one of the books
Be
we
kind
found,
and respect.
yeah, but it's like there's like a small group of Christians that will say that it's like God punishing everything that's right in the world, or like what's wrong in the world, and this is the way of making it right. Yeah, very small. And we completely disagree with that. We think that it's a little bit of a stretch of putting the Bible like that. But I think that definitely school shootings are a result of the sin in the world, and something that hopefully none of us will ever have to